Hi, I'm Kelly.
I'm Rich.
And we are One of Us Adventures.
In this week's video, Kelly braves the cold.
We commission our heater,
Wire some behind the scenes gizmos,
including a dog tag. Hope you enjoy.
Leave your comments down below. One of the first jobs I did this week was install an earth point for our AC and a ground point for our DC. Basically, we use 25mm squared cable for the AC side and 70mm for the DC side. Kelly just pulled a face at me because I've asked her to come out and do up a bolt for this earth. You come to help, my lamb. Alrighty, now they're in, and that was a struggle. To test continuity, to test that we got a good earth, you can use your multimeter. So you've got it set on the voltage setting, DC setting. You can put one probe on a known good earth and one probe on your new earth, and basically you should see a reading of 0 on here, or you should have continuity on here. 0. Take the other one. 0. And if I check them together, one good one should mean 0. So we know that those grounds are good. We've got a good clean connection there, which is what you want. Now I've got one, like I mentioned, for DC connections, and I've got one for my AC connections, and I've ordered some fancy green and yellow heat shrink to go over this, just so we know the difference. You don't need that, but it'll look good, won't it? The diesel heater in our bus is installed underneath in a box, and we went for a 5 kilowatt version. Out of that comes 75mm heater duct. We're going to take that and pass it through the floor here, and then we're actually going to step it down because we want to have 4 outlets. So we don't think there'll be a restriction of air, which is one consideration that people have, because we're going to have so many outlets and so many places for it to go. We're going to basically drill a 64mm hole in the floor, have the 51mm conduit in here, and then seal it up underneath the van, so we have that passing up through, and then that's going to run behind our box and furniture here and basically split off around the bus. So praying to the drill gods here.
Drill gods, yeah.
Probably should take the bed out, to be fair, but there we are.
We just have been scooting under it.
Alright, so the components of this, the hole is cut, 50mm coming through the floor, and I've got that adapter on the bottom of it. What I need to do now is to reduce the 75mm heater duct that I've got underneath in length, attach it to that adapter with a hose clamp, and I can seal the bottom of the floor and push that up and against it, and then basically our hot air duct is in. And today, ironically, is probably the coldest of the autumn so far. So it seems like a good time to test the diesel heater to check that it still works. So what I've done here is taken some flex 3-core wire. So this is not single core, this is multi-strand wire, and I've extended the wiring from underneath. You saw it in last week's video, so I can put the controller wherever we please in the van. So for the time being, I'm just going to take some Wago connectors, good old Wagos, and hook it up to the connector and the control panel. Let's go get one of my old batteries and give that a go. This still works, which is a minor miracle, bearing in mind I left it underneath the van for 7 months. Okay, so after a little bit of priming, we did have a little bit of white smoke, but it's running lovely and clear now. I think I over primed it a bit, but there we are. Go check outside to see what's going on with it. Woohoo! Now he's flying. God, sounds like an aircraft. I'm gonna run it hot for you know, a good 10 minutes just to check that we're all good. Didn't touch anything. Yeah, exhaust nice and clean. Let me show you. Literally running clear, nothing coming out at all, not even a vapour. Right here, nice warm air, getting warmer by the minute. So what we're gonna have, so this is gonna come along here. I'm gonna tee it to come up this wall into the bedroom. So it's gonna come along this wall, come out under the kitchen. And it's also gonna come this way toward me to go into the bathroom. Okay, I've bought those tea pieces to tee all of this off. I'm gonna have 3 teas. No sugars. No, I do have sugar. And then that basically will mean that we've got a fair few outlets throughout the bus. Now we are still 11 degrees, oh no, 12 degrees. It's fighting it. Let's shut the door and see what we can pump this up to. Wouldn't recommend running it on a battery that isn't being charged or whatever, but it needs must and all that. This mess, believe it or not, is all in the interest of testing. And I have established that I can run 3 outlets and actually warm air comes out of all of them at the same time. The idea is though, that the vents that I'm going to put on these will be closable, and I've just tested that too by just simply putting my hand over the end of it. And then what that does is basically close the air supply off in the room that you don't want to be heated at that time. For example, in the day we might not want the bedroom area heated quite so much, so we could close that vent up and it'll push all of the air out into the living space. Likewise, in the evening we might be able to reverse that or have them coming out of both, and we know that it'll both work. And then you know, when we're not using the bathroom one, that will close too. We think and we're hoping to be able to get a Truma towel rail that goes in there. Sounds a bit fancy, but basically it has a connection on there to take your heater duct and then can either act as a heat duct and then we'll have like a drying room, or it will heat the towel rail, is the idea. I don't know how good it is, but it seems like a sensible idea if we can fit it in there. The biggest problem I've got now though is that I need to go and crack on in the garage, which is not by any means any way near as warm as it is in here now, because I think we're up to 15 degrees last time I checked, and outside it's like 10, 11, so I might put the heater on in there too. Thanks for Simon for pointing out as well that our wallpaper is from Laura Ashley, apparently. I didn't know that. That's the final screws on the doors. I'm going to switch them off now. I've had it running an hour in here. So, I'm happy that the diesel heater has been run through. Okay, sorry if you can hear the diesel heater, but it is going through its wind down procedure. And as predicted, it is cold out here, so I might shut the door in a minute and get the heater out. Totally realised that it's getting a little bit beyond a joke how many holes I've drilled in this thing. But these ones were to basically allow all of those cables from last week to pass up through the floor, and for the heater ducts to be able to pass through the back of this bracing piece. I cut it basically in a way that none of the strength has been removed, but it allows me to push it right up against the wall in the bus. Right, that's worked sort of, so I just need to trim a little bit more out of this end to allow these, where I've put the ground and earth cables, to come through. This is actually going to go up through the end, but I was just testing to see if it would fit in that notch. Just need to notch out a bit more, and I think for the time being all the holes that I need to have drilled are drilled for cable access, and we can start mounting this stuff up. Alright, so the cupboard's in just mocked up. Now, one of the elements to make all of this work eventually is going to have to be this cupboard. But because I want to crack on with the wiring for inside there, I want to know that I've got all of the holes cut in the right place. In the electric cupboard, I'm going to make the end piece that goes on the end of there and scribe it in now, just so we can match the holes up and everything through that, and then that will allow me basically to construct these two bits in different parts, but knowing when I come and bring them together they marry up. The alternative would be to make this cupboard in its entirety now and then drill through, but because I want to work on the wiring in the evening, this is kind of like a, I guess it's a happy compromise. Alrighty, so you can see what the inside of our bedroom will look like. Can you imagine it? Wow, it's just that one panel. So I'm just going to scribe it with my little trusty piece of wood here. This is by magic, I'm going to appear here in 1, 2, 3. Magic. So this is the correct height for this. It's not the correct depth here, because if needs be I can square that off right at the end. I'm going to have to move all of this out of the way in order to do this. Right, okay, I'm going to tidy up. 3, 2, 1. Your definition and my definition of tidy might be different. So the box is gone now, so that's good. You can see there's quite a gap at the bottom there. Have a look. But yeah, at the bottom you're not going to cut anything off, and at the top you can see that how it will scribe on in with that curve. We come around here, around the horn. Hopefully it corresponds to that. It does, believe it or not. Go and cut this with the jigsaw and see how it comes out. That bit's cut now, so I'm gonna pack up, go on in, and in the evenings we're gonna crack on and try and get the back of the electric box finished, and then we'll come back to this later on. As promised, here I am in my lounge in the evenings. So Monday evening we are installing tonight a fan controller. So this is designed for a PC. It comes with a little thermostat and it's capable of powering 3 fans that ramp up in speed basically as the heat increases, which is good because I can plug these in here. They plug directly into the connectors that are there. I've bought some extending cables here that I can just use, and then all I need to add to this is basically a 12-volt supply. It's got a built-in relay in it, so I don't need to worry about that either. And thank you to Peter and to the guys who reached out to us on Instagram to just really ratify that this is a good idea. I've also installed some cable management just to keep things tidy. Hello, it's Tuesday. So tonight I have installed a negative bus bar on the back here. So this is going to have a big set of wires run through it in a minute. It's going to be my last job for the night. But basically the reason why I've run this here in my install is I now have one point to run all my negatives to for the stuff that's on the end here. Because what we have, my fuse box down here, main feed coming in. And then here we've got all of the outlets for the various things. So we've got for the fans running from here. We've got for the diesel heater. We've got for the garage lights. And we've got a feed here that just literally comes up here for the 12-volt socket. And then what I've done is installed this bus bar here for the negatives. So again, you got every local negative just coming from here down to here. And I've got a big fat one that's going to go all the way back to the links. Same with the feed for the positive side. That's going to run all the way back to the links, all the way along through this hole out here where the links is going to be. Here we've got the sensor for our fans. Here's the thermometer that comes out and is in this area here that's going to get heated up. We've got 3 coming off of this that will run at various speeds and come on at various times depending on how warm it is in this box. And then finally down here I've the 3-pin socket that I've wired. I've tacked this along here and then that's going to come through the hole and run up to the consumer unit. So I do need to order some little zip ties and cable clips to just tidy this up, keep it all neat and tidy, but overall I'm pretty happy with that. Wednesday evening, spot the difference. Okay, so you should be able to see here a little junction box. This is a Wago box that I've used for one of my 3-pin sockets. Now, camper van regulations, caravan regulations, they do kind of say to have individual spurs for each socket. Because this one's in the garage and it's going to be seldom used, I've decided to just spur one off. And then I'm going to run this cable along the front to the power socket that's in the kitchen, basically creating a linked double socket. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. But the other 2 sockets that are in the van have got a dedicated feed that we ran much earlier in the build. And that's going to come through to my consumer unit. So I'm going to have 3 MCBs in there, basically 1 MCB per socket. And one of them will power these 2, so the one that's in the garage and the one that's going to be in the kitchen. When it comes through the wall into the cabinet and along, it's going to be in conduit as well. But the back of the unit, apart from tidying up of those DC cables when my clips arrive, is done. I even used a dog tag to make a little label for the fuse box. Welcome to a windy Saturday. The bus is literally rocking. I'm gonna spend the morning hopefully making the frame for this now. It's gonna be made of this CLS timber, the same stuff we obviously made this part of the frame out previously. I'm just taking some measurements and then we'll get that cut up to make this end frame and the back piece. Really is howling a gale outside. Ladder frame is now complete, sturdy. It'll be a lot sturdier once we've got it fixed in the van and clad. But for the frame, the skeleton is nice and sturdy. Before I can continue, I need to I've got these 3 sets of cables here that I need to pass through. This piece, and this piece. And this is going to be inside 2 bits of plywood, so I'm not worried about losing the strength of this, because like I said, by the time it's sandwiched, it basically creates a panel that is putting all its strength not just through this frame but through the plywood that's skinning it. Alrighty, these little buttes that we've cut out for the cable, I'm going to actually use the spacers behind just one of the battens of the frame on the back of the cabinet, because behind there, I don't know if you've seen our previous videos, we've got like a very thick piece of steel running behind there. So I'm going to put a couple of fixings through into that. We're going to fix it through the floor with very long screws, and we're going to fix it into the ceiling with riv nuts. And then that way we basically got it bolted, screwed, wherever we can. This is going to be riv nutted up into the rib of the roof, because This is where this comes down through here. And then riv nutted on the back in that very thick steel that runs along. We've got wood that runs down here, so that's going to be screwed through into there. Should look pretty good and be very sturdy, I think. But we shall see. So we're up to the point now where the frame is largely built, and now, because we're running out of line, it's so windy, we're packing up. I'm just putting some fixings in and I'll show you that next time.
Thank you for watching always, and don't forget to leave us a comment below, and we will see you soon. 1, 2, 3.
Bye!